What's going on, everybody? It's ISO Joe, and you're tuning into the ISO Joe podcast. So I know it's been a while. I've been busy with school and just getting acclimated with second semester, but I don't want to leave you all waiting. I know you all been enjoying the content, and I've enjoyed making it, so I'm ready to get back on it. So in this video, we will be talking about kind of my personal reactions from the 2023 trade deadline. So if you all weren't paying attention, or basketball, this news kind of slipped your mind, I'm here to kind of keep you updated. And this trade deadline, to say the least, has just been crazy. Just to put it in those words. I mean, it's been more than that. I mean, there've been a lot of blockbuster trades and blockbuster moves, and I'm really going to break down all the teams that I thought were just really benefited from these moves, and really maybe even got rid of some headaches. So the first team we're going to talk about is, of course, the one that's probably publicized the most, in the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they had one of the most polarizing players in Kyrie Irving, and another player in Kevin Durant, who, again, two superstar players, but they could just never really put it together. Now, the Nets had a lot of drama within their front office and really just surrounding them. And I know just for Kevin Durant, he's really big on, I just want to come and play basketball. With all that drama between Kyrie and then just the Nets front office, it was very difficult for him to come and play basketball. So with all that, I'm going to get into who the Nets dealt and what teams were affected by it. This first player, I think it's fair to start with Kyrie Irving, because he was kind of the catalyst of this trade deadline. He was playing amazingly with Kevin Durant out. He was just playing out of his mind, averaging 27 points. Without KD, pushed the Nets to the 4th seed. I mean, he was really raising his stock. And so when he went to the Nets front office to ask for an extension, they're like, you've been playing really well, Kyrie. We appreciate that. But given your track record, I'm just not sure if we can extend you, give you the extension that you want. And Kyrie was like, you're not going to extend me? Okay. So he continues to play well and continue to boost his stock and put the Nets in high playoff contention. So now when the trade deadline comes, he demands a trade, and he ends up getting signed by none other than the Dallas Mavericks, signed and picked up by the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this was a big trade and really a power move utilized by the Brooklyn Nets, because I'm not sure if you're keeping up. LeBron, or the GM as a lot of people call him, was really trying to lure Kyrie in. He was really hoping that in this offseason, in this trade deadline, they could get a point guard that could score and could shoot, because Russell Westbrook, that's LeBron's buddy and everything, and he's from California, in Los Angeles, that's close to his home and everything, but it clearly wasn't working out for them. They clearly weren't getting the production that they anticipated and wanted from Russ. He was just kind of clogging up the paint. He couldn't shoot at a high enough clip to really give them the spacing that they needed, and they were ready to move on. But Joe Tsai did not want to appease the Lakers. He was not trying to give them what they wanted, or give Kyrie an out for what he wanted to put him in championship contention. So instead, he makes sure that Kyrie goes over to the Mavericks. Now with Luka Doncic. Now this is still a pretty big move. It really shakes up the West a little bit, because you're now pairing Luka Doncic with another star. Now, my only concern, and this is one of the concerns I've seen with the Dallas Mavericks so far, is they'll still be a great team. You have two, one that's going to be a Hall of Famer, one that's on the track of being a Hall of Fame player. That's going to be a great team. But the problem I see is that these are both two ball dominant guards. And I feel like with there being two ball dominant guards, one person is going to have to make a sacrifice. And, when it comes to the final shot, you're going to need a closer. Now, I know both guys can close, but depending on who gets it, that might be the challenge. So I'm interested to see how that works out. And in return, the Brooklyn Nets received Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and they received a couple of picks for 2027 second round picks, a first round pick in 2029, and an unprotected 2029 second round pick. So, Dallas, they really didn't lose too much. They lost a little bit of shooting and defense with Dorian Finney-Smith and a few other guards. But, you get Kyrie Irving, so it's worth it. Now, and it really wasn't that much of a risk, because, they lost that, but I mean that was pretty easy to recoup, and they didn't lose any. They didn't lose Kristen Wood or a few other high draft picks because Kyrie's behavior can be a bit sporadic at times, so it can be a little bit difficult to know what he's going to do in the offseason. But I think this is a good experiment for the Mavericks just to see what they can get from Kyrie. If he's playing well and wants to stay there, they can extend him, and if not, they can move on. But at least they're showing Luka Doncic, the front office is showing Luka Doncic that they're willing to get him the pieces that he needs to really thrive and really have a shot in the Western Conference. Now, the other blockbuster trade, I'm sure you all know, and this happened at 1 a.m. during the trade deadline, is Kevin Durant. Now, he and TJ Warren were dealt to the Phoenix Suns. Now, what's so interesting about this trade is that the Phoenix Suns received Kevin Durant and TJ Warren, and all they had to deal was Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and a few picks. Now, yes, those are still, invaluable losses in the sense with, Bridges being able to stretch the floor and defend. I mean, he's a great player, and, he's one of those players that it's very hard to give up. But at the same time, it's Kevin Durant. I mean, you're replacing that with Kevin Durant. I mean, just unlimited offense, just unlimited bag moves. Like it's just, I think it'll work out in this case. And I mean, you're pairing him up, or you're teaming him up with Devin Booker, who's a 3-level scorer, and Chris Paul, who is a mid-range maestro, and he's able to kind of control the pace and the flow of the offense. So I mean, when you team those three up, I mean, you really just shot yourself to championship aspirations by teaming those three up. You pretty much have a big three, and I know a lot of people may not consider that given CP3's age and that he's kind of on the downturn, but I mean, you get those guys together, that's championship aspirations in my opinion, and I don't really see how it's not. Now, if they don't win, I don't see it as a failure this year because it's a mid-season trade. The guys are still getting acclimated with each other, and they still need some time to mesh. Now, going into next year, then the expectations for me, are going to be a little bit higher. I know for some people it's like, oh, you got to win now. You have Kevin Durant, you have Devin Booker, you have Chris Paul. How do you not? And that's fine and everything, but personally I feel like they get at least a year, and for them, yeah, they got those 2 picks, and they got Jay Crowder, but he was ultimately dealt to the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, he didn't play at all. The Suns, he just was not happy with front office, wasn't really happy with the team, so he decided to kind of sit his way out, and now he's with Milwaukee. So be interested to see how he fares down in Milwaukee. So the next team we're going to talk about is the Los Angeles Lakers. So as I noted with the Kyrie trade, they were really in need of some spacing and shooting because, with Russell Westbrook, AD, LeBron, like LeBron is a scorer, he's not a shooter. And, he can give you some points, but they didn't have enough to compete with these high offensive and defensive rating teams in the Western Conference. And especially with their loss to Oklahoma City, they were definitely in need of just some more spacing and just some better players that suited them better. So one of the moves that they made that I really liked, and I mean really liked this move, was the move for D'Angelo Russell. I mean, he gives you spacing. He's bringing you, I think he's averaging about 26 a game. I know it's somewhere in the 20s. I probably need to check that, but I mean, he really brings a lot of scoring that you need to team with LeBron and Anthony Davis. And then they also made a move for Mo Bamba with the Magic. And by adding him, and also from the Timberwolves, Malik Beasley, and a couple of other picks, and that team, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker was dealt to the Jazz, I believe, because he was dealt to the Timberwolves, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers really got a lot from this trade. You got a lot of shooting with Beasley and D'Angelo Russell. And they have some good rim protection and some bigs that can stretch the floor in Mo Bamba. And the rim protection, you have Jared Vanderbilt. So, I mean, the Lakers really retooled this trade deadline. Now, does this make them title favorites? Probably not. But this at least is trending them in the right direction, has them trending in the right direction. And that's what you want to see if you're LeBron James from your front office, that they're trying to make some moves and they're really trying to optimize his prime window and the playoff window, or championship window really, with Anthony Davis and LeBron James at the core. Now, with Utah, as I said, they received Malik Beasley and they traded Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. And with that, they received Russell Westbrook, and they're likely going to buy out his contract. But I ultimately see I really want to see if he'll go to the Clippers. And I'm going to do a video next, probably talking on the Russell Westbrook, decision, and what they're going to do with him or what his plans are, and seeing the Clippers during this buyout market, because I know that's coming up soon. Seeing where he goes, I'm really interested to see if the Clippers end up signing him, because I personally believe he'd be the nice piece to really push and propel the Clippers into a deep playoff run, because Westbrook is going to be able to facilitate things and really be able to get people and get guys involved. They have the offense, they have the defense, they just need someone to run the show. And Westbrook is a pass first point guard, just a true point guard. And having Westbrook in that system can really pull those guys together and really get guys involved to help them space the floor more. Because you got Kawhi, you have Paul George. You got plenty of people that can get you involved. And again, they have a very deep bench, very deep team. And I really think the Clippers can really make some noise with Westbrook, because they have Powell. They just have a lot of great players. So I'm interested to see how the Clippers fare, and the rest of this season, during the buyout market, and see where they do. Will they pick up Westbrook? I'm really interested to see what happens there. And now the T-Wolves, and kind of this 3-team trade between the Lakers, T-Wolves, and Jazz. Timberwolves received Mike Conley, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Now, I don't know if this necessarily shakes things up a lot for the Timberwolves, but I do feel like in dealing D'Angelo Russell, this will really allow Anthony Edwards to shine with Karl-Anthony Towns as the premier guard on the team. Because I do feel like with D'Angelo Russell and Ant-Man, as he goes by, it was really hard for either one of them to really flourish, because it was clear that the organization was trying to pass the franchise to Anthony Edwards, kind of have him at the forefront, but they were still trying to keep D'Lo on, but it was just clear that they weren't really utilizing him well. I feel like with him being on the Lakers, where he's going to get a lot of shots up, and the ball is going to run through him a lot, between him, LeBron, and AD. Playing with those two guys, I think Russell will really flourish in Los Angeles with his second stint. But yeah, that's all I have for right now. But I'm honestly just really excited to see where these Western Conference teams are going. Like particularly the Lakers, I'm interested to see how they're doing. Clippers, if they try to go for Westbrook. The West is really looking stacked right now. And it's honestly, when I look back at it and I started laughing, thinking about the comment that Ja Morant made earlier in the season during an interview, saying that he was fine in the West. Dang, well, Ja, if you look at it now, it's not looking like you're so fine in the West now. And I love his play style. I think he's a great player, but I just feel like the Grizzlies have been doing a lot of talking this year, and they've been good, but to have not made a Western Conference Finals yet, to not won a championship, I feel like that's a lot of talk. So that's all I have for y'all. Remember to stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and just be ready for my next episode.